Good afternoon. Welcome to Grandpa's Workshop. This afternoon we're going to do a how-to video on how I cook Boston butts on my Akorn grill. Alright, this is how I rub down the butts getting ready to go on the grill. I like to do it several hours before putting them on the grill and let it have time to absorb into the meat just a little bit and kind of melt to the meat. I've already done one and I'll show you as I do the other one. Alright, this is just an over-the-shelf rub that I purchased at a grocery store. It was really cheap. Came in a bag and it was sold by weight. Just about any kind of commercial rub will do. A lot of them have a lot of sugar in them, but it really doesn't matter because you're not cooking over a really high direct heat. So it will be fine. In fact, I prefer the ones with a little bit of sugar in them. And I just rub this all over, all sides of the meat, top. I don't do the bottom though. The bottom's just mostly fat and we're not going to use it anyway. So that's all for this step. I'll see you again in a little bit. Okay, now I'll show you how I set up my Akorn grill for cooking the Boston butts. I use a regular baking pan and covered in tin foil. I use this for a water pan. I'll fill it about 3/4 full of water and then I'll set it on my grill. What I use is, this is just a charcoal rack made for a Weber kettle grill. It fits perfectly right on inside the kettle, the Akorn grill. And on top of that, I put a pizza stone wrapped in foil just for easy cleanup. And on top of that is where the water pan goes, and it will be just below the cooking rack, and then I'll put the meat on it. What that allows it to do, the water pan provides a little moisture in the grill, keep it from getting too dry, and the pizza pan allows the heat to come up the sides rather than directly up through the center, and rolls around through the dome, and it seems to cook it nice and evenly that way. For a long slow burn, I like to use lump charcoal that has some nice big pieces if I can get them. And the way I light it, I set it up in the center with almost like a little volcano. And if you look way down in there, you'll see the little alcohol cube. That's what I use to start it with. And I only use one for this because I don't want it to start off too fast. So I'll go ahead and light it and let that come up. Once I get up to temperature, I'll put the meat on. So I have my charcoal lit, have my water pan, and my pizza stone that I use as a heat diffuser to circulate the heat around the edges. And there's the rack to put the water pan on, and the pizza pan, and my cooking rack. It's all ready to go. As soon as the grill gets up to temperature, I'll bring the meat out. Okay, the next step is, now that the grill has started heating up, we'll put everything together and be ready to put the butts on after it comes up to temperature. Okay, so you can see the charcoal is ready. The cube has burnt down and the charcoal has caught fire good, so we're ready to assemble the grill. All right. So I'll put the grill rack on. Pizza stone goes on right in the center. Then the water pan goes on. And then the cooking grate. And that's where the meat will go. I'll let it heat up real good, and then I'll scrub down the cooking rack, put the meat on. Leave it open just a little bit so it can come up to temp slow. I like to cook between right around 275, no more than 300. I try to not let it get less than 200. I try to keep it around 275 to 290. And I'll bring the meat up to right around 205 with an internal thermometer, but I don't put that on until later. So for right now, we're just waiting for the grill to heat up. The grill has reached temperature for cooking. It might be just a tad high, but it will lose a little temperature when I open it up. So I'm going to open the grill, put the meat on, and show you how I do make little adjustments. Grill's nice and hot, ready to go. Got the meat rubbed down, and you can see how the meat looks after it sits for a little bit with the rub on it. It looks dark, it looks like it's got a lot of rub on it, but it's really not. It makes a nice bark when it cooks up. So, get this meat on. And I've already wiped the grill down with this Scotch-Brite pad that has a handle. Does a really good job on the grill. Once it gets hot, just brush it over, and it's a lot safer than using a wire brush. I just bought these recently, and they work really good. So, now we have the meat on. Close up the grill, seal it up, and I've got the top just barely open and the bottom not open a lot, and that gives me about the right airflow for 250, 275, because now it has dropped just a little bit to just around 275, which is where I really like it. It cooks good at that temperature. The thing to remember when adjusting the grill, if you want more heat, give it more air. Open the valves up or open the dampers up. If you want less heat, close it up. After making an adjustment, you need to wait 5 to 7 minutes and give it time to adjust, give it time, the grill time to adjust to your new changes in vents, and then look at your gauge and see what the temperature is and see if you still need to go up or down to get where you want it to be. Okay, time for the next step. They've been cooking now for about 3 hours. The temperature is about 285, 290, so that's a good temperature to cook at. Normally cook them anywhere from 5 to 6 hours. Basically, I use my internal temperature probe and get them up to 205 internal temperature, and that's when I take them off. So right now, I'm going to take them off, wrap them in tin foil, pour just a little bit of apple juice on them just for some extra moisture. Apple juice works good because it's got a little sweetness to it. Doesn't really add a whole lot of flavor or change the flavor, but the moisture is the main thing keeping them drying out. So watch this part and you'll see this is kind of a secret step. And you see how they're looking? They've been on about 3 hours. Usually I do this around the 2.5 hour mark. Just a little bit late this time, but they're looking really good. And they're hot right now, so have to be careful picking them up. Oh yeah. I double wrap it in foil. I've already pre-poured the foil. I'll make like a little, almost like a little bowl. Fold it up on all the sides. Ooh, that's smelling good. I wish y'all could smell it. Pour just a little bit of apple juice. It doesn't take a lot. Just a little bit in the bottom. Keeps a little moisture in it while they're finished cooking. See me close the lid after I took that second one off. I meant to do it after the first one because I like to hold in as much heat as I can. That lets a lot of heat escape from the grill. So. And usually what I'll do, when I put them back on the grill, I'll reverse sides. The left one goes on the right one goes on the left, just to, in case it's a little hotter on one side than the other, kind of helps balance out the temperature and the cooking time. Alright, I have, this is a digital wireless probe. Put the probe in the meat. Just leave this sitting on the outside. Close the grill back off. Then I take this inside, put it in the window close to the grill, and it will tell me the temperature of the meat, and I have it preset to beep or alarm when it reaches the internal temperature of 205. So we'll come back in a few hours when they're done. This is the temperature sensor that I have inside. It shows the preset temperature for the internal temperature of 205, and right now the meat is at 157, so we don't have a long ways to go. I'll just sit and listen for the beep. Okay, the meat's ready to come off. It's been cooking right at 6.5 hours. The last couple hours the grill has been about 300 to 310, so that kind of helped get the temperature up. When they're wrapped, you can let it go a little higher and you don't have to worry about them getting too dark or too burnt on the outside. I mentioned earlier that I like for the temperature, internal temperature, to be around 205. Anywhere between 200 and 210 is good. If you look at the charts, a lot of them for pork, they'll say 160 to 165 and it's done. If you want to chip your barbecue up, you need to get it up around 200, 205. So here we go. I'll leak a little bit. And then for the grill, just seal it up, close the vents, let it go out. That's it. We'll show you in a little bit, after I open them up, how we cut it up. Open it up, see what it looks like. Now the foil can be hot. I like to go ahead and open it up and let the meat start cooling before we cut it up. So let's have a little look. That's it. That's one of them. You can see how the meat's pulling away real easy from the bone. How tender that meat is. How it flakes apart. It'll cut up really good. Alright, we'll show you part of the cutting up process in just a few minutes. We have one cut up already. We went ahead and ate us a sandwich out of it because we were getting a little hungry. So now we're going to show you how we cut it up. This is the one we've already cut up. Made almost a bowl full. This is cutting board. And here is the meat. It's all opened up. And I'm going to show you how we pull it apart because it's still kind of warm. I'm going to use these bear claws that my daughter bought me a couple weeks ago for Father's Day. They work real good. They're stainless steel. You can put them in the dishwasher. If you cook the meat to 205, like I said, and it's good and tender, you can pull it apart real easy, and the bone will just come right out, nice and clean. It's that easy. And then you can pick up the hot meat in chunks, lay it out so it can start to cool. And then you can cut it up. See how easy that separates into nice big chunks? So they can cool. I'll show you how we cut it up. I usually take, if there's any fat in different areas, I'll cut the fat off. And I'll cut it about close to an inch. Normally about the length of a joint on your finger. And then once you get it cut up and you come back and separate it. To me, it's better than shredding the meat because it's not stringy. I'm not a fan of shredded meat. A lot of people like it. It's just a personal preference. And just go through the whole Boston butt, and that gets it all cut up. And the other thing we do is I'll put some sauce on it. I like to use Montgomery Inn. It comes from a place in Cincinnati, a barbecue place called Montgomery Inn Boathouse. It's a really good sauce. You can buy it at several grocery stores locally. And I usually put just enough on the meat to color it a little bit. Give it just a little bit of flavor. You don't want to mask the barbecue flavor that's already in the meat. You just want to enhance it a little bit. So just enough sauce to color the meat and you're good to go. Thank you for watching. Tune in for another how-to later.